Your neck pain isn't random. It's not bad luck, and it definitely didn't just come out of nowhere. It's a message. You just don't know how to read it yet. By the end of this video, you're going to know exactly what your pain is trying to say and how to finally get it to stop talking. As a chronic pain counselor, I see people trying to fix their neck every day. I live with chronic neck pain for 20 years, and I fell into every trap there is. And the first trap being treating the symptom, but ignoring the message. Because the neck is rarely where the problem actually starts. In most cases, our brain has been trying to get our attention for a long time before it resorts to pain. There were early warning signs, subtle and not so subtle ones. Pain shows up when those early warning signs are ignored or pushed through for far too long. Your nervous system has one job, and that job is to keep you safe. Not happy, not productive, not successful, but safe. And our emotions are one of the earliest ways that our brain lets us know that something isn't safe. Whether that's objectively true does not matter to your brain. Now, this doesn't mean that there's something wrong with your brain or with you. It means that your system is doing exactly what it's designed to do. If an emotional signal like anger, frustration, stress, fear gets noticed and responded to, maybe you slow down or you change something, set a boundary, or even just acknowledge what you're feeling, your brain and your nervous system will usually settle back down. But when those messages, those emotions get ignored, especially over long periods of time, the nervous system has to turn the volume up. And this is when pain shows up, when those earlier signals were not getting the job done. Super common scenario. You're at work, deadlines are piling up, your boss is breathing down your neck, and Melanie from HR has just scheduled another quick check-in that totally could have been an email. Our lizard brain often interprets all that pressure as danger. But you're a responsible adult. You power through. And short term, that's a fine strategy. You gotta get through the day. But for weeks? Months?
Not a great plan.
And you feel the anxiety starting to creep in. You can feel your fuse getting a little bit shorter. Monday rolls around and you don't feel rested or ready. You can feel dread setting in, but you tell yourself, you're fine. It's normal.
I'm fine!
Because we are trained to ignore all of this and just keep going. But your shoulders are creeping up and your neck is tense. And then one day you wake up and your neck is aching. And now that gets your attention. And it feels like it came out of the blue, but really it came out of the oblivious. And you start worrying about it. You move differently, you're more careful, and then you book appointments. You try and fix the neck. But all the while, the stress at work is still there. And now you've got neck pain on top of all of that. This is how people get stuck focusing on the pain instead of what the nervous system was originally responding to long before the pain ever showed up. To your nervous system, there is no difference between the saber-toothed tiger chasing you and HR Melanie sending a passive-aggressive email, or the internal critic. When I had chronic neck pain, I didn't have a terrible boss. There was no HR department. On the outside, my life looked amazing. But internally, I was the horrible boss. And Melanie. Constant pressure, constant self-criticism, always feeling like I wasn't doing enough or being enough or good enough. And those thoughts were playing on repeat in my head. And I didn't recognize that as stress because I thought that stress had to come from something obvious, something external. And my brain couldn't tell that those threats were just my thoughts. It just heard the tone of my internal voice, sensed the pressure that I was putting on myself, and did exactly what it was designed to do. It sounded the emotional alarm. I was getting depressed. I was anxious all the time. I was not sleeping, but I didn't pay attention to those messages. So my nervous system upped the ante. It started to brace my muscles and my neck tightened. It was preparing me for a fight that never came. So the stress and the tension just sat there until it inevitably turned into pain. What else could it do? So how do we stop this? Think of your brain like a grassy field. Every time you push through stress or ignore emotion, you're walking down the same path. Over months, even years, that path becomes deep and entrenched. And eventually your brain gets so good at walking down that path, and in your case, probably the path that leads to neck pain, it becomes the go-to shortcut for any kind of stress. But thankfully, because of neuroplasticity, that means that your brain can change. You can stop walking down that pain trench and start treading a new path to safety. It'll feel clunky at first, like walking through tall grass. But the more you do it, the more the old pain fades away and the new path becomes easier and easier to find. A lot of people with chronic pain are very good at tolerating things. They're capable, responsible, they get shit done. So when something feels stressful or uncomfortable, that trodden path is very easy for them to access. I'll deal with it, it's fine, I just need to push harder. And that works until it doesn't. What this is really about is noticing the emotions earlier, before your nervous system has to escalate into pain. So you might be thinking, okay, so what does that mean? Do I have to quit my job, end my relationship, give my children away, change everything about my life? This isn't about blowing up your life, but gritting your teeth and pushing through isn't the answer either. There are many tools and tactics for dealing with stress and learning to pay attention to your emotions. But let's start with an absolute basic one to get you started. First, acknowledge what you're feeling. Literally say out loud or in your head, I feel X right now. And it doesn't have to be 10 out of 10, I'm gonna kill someone kind of stress. It can just be that flutter of anxiety or clenching your jaw or, feeling frustrated. But acknowledge it. Just say, I feel frustrated right now. I feel anxious right now. This moves the signal from unconscious, unacknowledged, to at least part of your awareness. You've acknowledged what your brain is trying to tell you. And just that alone is often enough to encourage just a little bit of calm. You're telling your brain, I heard the alarm, you can stop ringing it now. The 5% shift. Ask yourself, what would make me feel 5% safer, 5% calmer, 5% more in control? Not 100%, just 5. Maybe it's unclenching your teeth. Maybe it's taking one deep breath and dropping your shoulders. Or closing the 14 tabs that you aren't currently using. Having a drink of water, letting your hair down, going outside for 5 minutes. It's all those basic things that are pattern interrupts. It's not the thing itself, it's the fact that that thing is helping you acknowledge that you're feeling something. It's interrupting the pattern of stress. Because what you're doing is, instead of saying, I'll deal with it later, you're doing one tiny thing to address it now. The goal isn't perfection, or even relaxation, zen, or peace on earth. It's just acknowledging and taking tiny steps in the right direction. Every time you do this, you are taking a step out of that pain trench and carving a new path. You're teaching your nervous system that it doesn't need to scream to be heard. It can whisper, and that's enough. So, if you were to take one thing away from this video, let it be this. Pain is not your enemy, it's a message. It's what shows up when your nervous system has been trying to get your attention for a very long time and it didn't have any other way to reach you. Now, I know from experience that once you've started this work, it can feel messy. There will be days when you read the message loud and clear, nice and early. But there will also be days where you fall right back into pushing through and going down that pain path. That is totally normal. This journey is not a straight line, and there are plenty of pitfalls along the way. I don't want you to have to stumble through this alone, so I've put together a free email series called Finding Your Feet to give you guidance and reassurance as you make your way along this path. You can sign up for that in the link in the description. I appreciate you so much. I will see you in the next video. Bye.